set the time, and we'll let you know as we go forward. You're going to give her a 5-minute warning? Yep. All right, so if you've got a 5-minute warning, you'll see Dawn over there.
Perfect.
Yeah, you're going to have to hold. The microphone doesn't work. No, it's not picking up the sound, so you're going to have to hold it up like a microphone.
A little TikTok. Is it TikTok? Good afternoon. My name is Amy Klingensmith, and if you weren't here this morning, I want to welcome you to our CE this afternoon. I'm not going to tell you what the theme of the CE class is, because I want us to do a little exercise first. But before we start, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Amy Klingensmith. I am a wife, a mother, an instructor, a real estate agent, and an avid collector of nutcrackers that my husband has now told me I can no longer collect because I have more than enough in the house at this point. So I'm going to pass out a piece of paper for all of you. If you will just hold on to it, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So when you get your piece of paper, I would love for you to close your eyes and just envision what I'm saying to you. So we give Candace just a couple seconds to help me out passing those around. Don't worry, you do not have to write while your eyes are closed. I'm not asking you for that. I'm just asking you, once you get your paper, relax and just close your eyes for a minute. I do not, but okay, they're not that long. Okay, perfect. All right. So everybody, we're closing our eyes. We're in our car. It's a perfect day outside. We're driving and we notice this cute little street, and we go into the street. The street is perfect. There are no cracks. There are no bumps. There are no holes in the road. The wind is blowing and the sun is shining. We look to the left, to the right. It's perfectly lined trees all the way down. We keep driving. We finally see some houses. They all looked perfect. They are aligned exactly the same. The mailboxes are all the same, in the exact same spot, same flowers around them. All of the garages are down. And we can smell that fresh grass has been cut because it looks so immaculate. We see people walking past us. They wave and smile as they pass with their 2 golden doodles who are perfectly behaved and walking with them. We circle around the neighborhood. It's starting to get dark, and all of the lights come on in the exact same moment to usher us out, back out of the road, onto the main thoroughfare. So, if you would open your eyes now, take a deep breath. We're all relaxed, right? We've just meditated for a moment. We've settled down, and we're in our zone. So, for me, if you would, on that piece of paper, draw either a happy face or a sad face of how that made you feel. And would anyone like to share what they're... Cindy, thank you for holding your paper up. And it looks like it's a smiley face. So it made Cindy feel good. Mark?
It's supposed to be a smiley.
Mark has got some sort of smiley face. Thank you, Mark. Alicia, very nice smiley face. Somebody's got to be proud of me. All smiles. All smiles. Everybody's still feeling good about it. Okay, all right. So you're sort of. Spencer's thinking, maybe I like it, maybe I don't like it, but I'm going to wait and see what happens next to make my final decision. That's fine. So, what we've just experienced is an HOA. We've just gone through this community. We have just seen all the perfection that falls in with an HOA. So today our lesson is, it was supposed to play music, it doesn't want to play today, so we're just going to pass it. The good, the bad, the HOA. So the good, right, elicit feelings of warmth. We were happy to be there. We felt secure, safe as we drove through this neighborhood. And we thought, wow, I don't know how I got here, but this is nice. For me, that would be fine because I do want your garages to be shut. At your house, I don't want to see everything that you own all day long. For other people, that's the bad. They don't want to be told how to live their life, what to put up, what flag to put up, when to put it up, when to take it down, when they have to cut their grass. So today, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the HOA. So welcome to the AK Corral Homeowners Association, where we are going to go through the day. We're going to have some fun, and we're just going to get to know each other a little bit because we are now part of the same homeowners association, and we live in the AK Corral, which happens to be my initials, but we're all play on word time. So by the end of the day, you will understand the purpose of HOAs, navigate how they use their, or how they get their power, recognize common challenges, and evaluate as agents what to do and when to use that information. Everybody feeling good so far? We're loving our HOA. Cindy says she's very happy. Thank you, Cindy, for holding your paper up and showing us how happy you are. I hope that stays the entire time that we're in this HOA, but you never know. So, here are my rules. These are our class rules. These are the HOA rules that we're going to follow today. No fighting, no scratching, no kicking, no cussing, no wrestling, and have fun. If you start to decide that you're going to do anything other than have fun, please let me know. Give me a little warning sign. Give me the sad sign or something. We'll go to the side and talk about it. But these are our rules for today. All right. We're going to play a game. I want you all to stand up. And we are going to meet our neighbors. So if you would walk across, because it looks like we're almost evenly matched to walk across, meet somebody, tell them who you are, and one crazy thing you have heard about HOAs. You're going across the room, you're going to meet somebody. If you don't have anybody, talk to whoever.
They're all different. It's not the HOA issue, it's the management company who tried to take over and try to get money off of it.
One thing that changed about the HOA is that if we're not careful, we can actually go over financial payments.
Yes. It also has to do with the personality types. Are they big picture, easygoing people, or are they one of those accounting type people? Everybody has to have identical.
Are they people who use HOA or whatever they did?
Yeah, exactly. I used to say in church, people who work coordinated management, they go to church and they try to take over the church so they can manage it.
Some of them are like, I don't want to know what's his name. You have fun.
dead center in the middle of the country.
Yes, he works right now.
Look at Kansas City, where it was a lot. Wichita, his wife left. 7 years old. I still have my house in Kansas City, so I go back up here, but I move to mine the rest of the time.
Not in tornado.
Well, supposedly, I've never seen a tornado in my life.
Being from Michigan, they scare me.
Tornadoes. Well, we had took out the whole city in 5 minutes. And tornadoes rarely hit metropolitan areas. And they think it has to do with the heat inversion, that causes them to swerve around the metropolitan areas.
Really? I think
Yeah, but every now and then, one will go downtown New York City. They haven't yet figured that out. Oh, nice talking to you.
All right. Everybody met their neighbor? We're excited about our HOA. It's on the floor. So we're excited about our HOA. We've met our neighbors, and I just want to see who wants to talk about, share. Okay, Mr. Sam, Dr. Sam.
Okay, I met the gentleman by the name of John, and he lives in the HOA. He says the reason he likes the HOA, the positive thing is that it helps the value of property.
Dr. Sam said he talked to John, and John said he likes living in an HOA because of the value of the properties. They keep the property value up. Everybody agree that's a positive of an HOA? Sounds good. We all want our property value to go up. Anyone else want to share? Alicia?
I met my neighbor Tracy. Tracy and I had a conversation about HOAs that would only allow you to have your garage door open for a certain amount of hours and making sure you have the trash can back within a certain amount of hours. And so we like HOAs. It's only when they have these really crazy rules that you have to adhere to.
Thank you, Alicia. Alicia said that she talked to Tracy. Tracy has an HOA, or heard of an HOA, where you only had to have your garage door up a certain amount of time during the day. I will ditto what Tracy said and share my experience. My brother lived in an HOA. Exact same thing. Could not park on the street. Could not have your trash cans in view. And your garage door had to be shut at all times unless you were going in or out of it. Anyone else? Good HOA, bad HOA? Okay.
We have experienced HOAs and that we have a commonality. One of them is the HOA covenants. We will not allow a work truck to be parked in your driveway. You can put it in our HOA, you can put it in the garage, but you can't leave it parked in your driveway. And the streets are not conducive for people to park on the streets, they're too narrow. So.
Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn said she and Fred talked, and where Fred is, you can't, or they've seen together, that you can't park your commercial vehicle at your house. You can't go park your truck in front of your house or beside of your house because they don't allow commercial vehicles. Test. That was fun. HOAs would not be approving of that. I just want you to know that's not HOA approving having the sound system mess up in the middle of the situation. So as you can see, the good, the bad of the HOA. The HOA is there for a reason. We understand the reason. It's there, as Dr. Sam said, there to raise value, making sure our property values are where they need to be, keeping some sort of sense and law and order in the situation. So, what is an HOA? What?
The neighborhood lease.
Tracy said it's a neighborhood lease.
For police.
Oh, for police. I thought you said we were leasing the neighborhood, Tracy. I was confused. Tracy said that it was policed. Anyone else? What do you think an HOA is?
Bunch of busybodies who like tell their neighbors what to do.
Mark said they're a bunch of busybodies who tell their neighbors what to do. Thank you, Mark.
Actually, bought a home where there were a bunch of busybodies because I wanted it to stay maintained and nice, and I didn't want someone to put their truck up on concrete blocks in my driveway, or in their driveway. And it's an HOA is a covenant-based neighborhood that is controlled by those covenants and laws. And at the time that you that you buy the property, you sign a document that says, "I've read this, I understand it, and I'm okay with it, and I will abide by it." And it always does support them.
It does not. Thank you, Ms. Carolyn, for you said exactly what I wanted you to say. Rules and regulations. That's what I'm looking for. What is an HOA? An HOA is a private organization with the purpose of maintaining property values. Dr. Sam said it right off the bat. We had that one, and we've talked about that one already. Rules outlined in covenants and restrictions. Some of those are lengthy. Some of those are, you can't have more than 2 dogs. You can't have certain breeds of dogs. You can't have more than 2 vehicles parked in your driveway. It goes on and on and on. Some of them are very simple. As in, if you're going to build a building outside, please come to us first so that we can make sure it withholds the structural integrity of the rest of the neighborhood. That's a fairly good one. You can't put a fence up more than 6 foot. That's wonderful as well. Give it a little bit of privacy, but it doesn't impede everyone else's vision around you. And they manage the shared amenities. So part of the HOA, what they do is manage shared amenities. When you think about HOAs and you think about the AK corral that we all live in right now, what sort of amenities would you want your HOA to have? Anyone?
Snow removal.
Okay, Dr. Sam, yes, sir.
Swimming pool.
But Dr. Sam said swimming pool. Yes, sir, thank you.
I'm in for the swimming pool.
Spencer's in for the swimming pool as well. I'm with you on that one. Yes, Ms.
I
Kitty?
think it would be best for us to have a swimming pool, but if we are going to have a swimming pool, we need security to ensure that individuals from neighboring properties don't utilize our amenities.
Ms. Kizzy has put on the board that we need security at our pool and AK Corral to keep those out that are not part of our community. Yes, Miss.
I would like to have lake access. I also want a fitness center. I also want tennis courts and picnic areas.
Well, when we were driving through our neighborhood, I don't remember any of that, but I love that we're adding it now. I love that we're going to have all of that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
But I don't want to have to pay a whole lot to have all that.
Okay, so John says he doesn't want to pay a lot to have all of these wonderful amenities that Alicia wants. Kizzy wants security, and everybody wants a pool, but he doesn't want to pay a lot for that. Saltwater pool, even in fact, back here. Yes.
Where I am in Overland Park, Kansas, the subdivision, the home association contracts for trash pickup. You get a whole lot cheaper than having to do it individually contracted.
Oh, that's good. See, that's the beauty of an HOA. Thank you, Mark. They contract their trash, so it's all picked up at the same time. It reduces the cost for everybody else because John said cost is important to him. Yes, Tracy.
My HOA is so bad that we've been through about 3 property management companies. Nobody will work for us. Because of all the lawsuits and the problems we have in our neighborhood, there's a downside to it as well.
So Tracy said, this was before she moved to our neighborhood, that in her neighborhood, they've had lawsuits and they've had continuous overturn of property managers. That is often, thank you Tracy, that's often the bad of having an HOA, because it is hard to make everybody happy. But there are rules in place that Carolyn had mentioned as well that were signed in the bylaws, signed in the covenants. You signed on the dotted line. You should have known what you were getting into. What do we call that? Let's go back to our pre-licensing days. What do we call that when you need to know what you signed? Somebody should have disclosed it to you.
It's material fact.
Material fact.
Participation by intimidation.
Participation by intimidation. I cannot see the name. I apologize. Jan. Okay. All right. I was thinking more along the lines of caveat emptor. Buyer beware. You know what you signed, or you should have known what you signed. I don't know that all states are that way, but in North Carolina, we are that way. That doesn't alleviate any disclosure from anyone else in the situation, but the buyer should have known what they were getting into when they moved into the HOA. Yes, Dr. Smith.
Because I am a broker, am I still held to a higher standard of disclosing the concept of equity to the buyer, even if I do have
Dr. Sam said, because he's a broker, is he held to a higher standard of what he should tell his buyers about going into an HOA? Thank you, Dr. Sam. I am going to field that out for a moment. And you tell me what you think. If you're a broker, you tell me what you think. Should you be held to a higher standard?
I think you're at a 50-50 shot. I'll go with yes.
Okay. Corinne says yes. Yes, you should. This is my personal opinion. Oh, Alicia, please.
I think as a broker, we have an obligation to disclose that there is an HOA and provide our clients with bylaws, but I think it's a slippery slope to try to interpret them without having them to consult their closing attorney.
Thank you, Alicia. Alicia says you should know what you signed, but if you don't know what you signed, you should at least have an attorney look over it so they know what you signed, and they can interpret it for you. My personal opinion is, Dr. Sam, is that everyone should be held to the same standard of telling their clients exactly what they're getting themselves into. Does that hold you at a higher, if you're a broker? Probably does make it a little bit more important for you, especially if you're a broker in charge, because you're teaching other people in your office what they need to do. So, in my opinion, yes, you should be held to a higher standard, but everyone should do it. Yes, Mark?
Tracy earlier talked about lawsuits. What do you think the most common reason homeowner associations get sued or whatever? What would be the reason, would you think?
Mark wants to know why, or what is the reason that homeowner associations get sued so often? Has anybody else been on a homeowners association board? Like you were actively serving on this homeowners association board. I served on one as well. My next door neighbor was having an issue with a new property management coming in, and they were going back through and charging people for fences that were they did not have permission to put up. So we had to have a big board meeting about this. Alicia, you'll be happy to know, or Kizzy, you'll be happy to know there was security involved at said HOA meeting, and my next door neighbor threw a pencil at my head, and it flew past me and hit the wall behind me. I, after that meeting, promptly got off of the HOA board and decided, too hazardous for my health, I was not wanting to be there for it. Personal opinion, I think most of them are for disclosure. They didn't know the rules, they did it, and now they're coming back and they're trying to figure out why something else has changed. There are some instances where if you don't pay your HOA dues, what happens? A lien is placed against your property. And if you don't pay that lien, what's the next step? Foreclosure. Exactly. So HOAs play a big part in real estate. They play a big part in what we all do. Again, at the AK Corral, we're all a happy homeowners association. We have no issues amongst us, and we live as wonderful neighbors do. But that's not the case for everybody. Okay, well, we've already made some of our rules up, and the rule that I have on here is don't put a schoolhouse next to a bar. Right? Like, that's pretty, don't put a schoolhouse next to a bar. School children should not necessarily be at that age where they need to see a bar. High school could be different, I'm just saying, but at that point it couldn't. But what are some other things that would not go well with an HOA? What would make it so egregious that people would just say, where did you get permission from that for? And how did it happen? Ms. Karen.
Placing a landfill next to your subdivision.
Placing a landfill next to your subdivision. I love it. That's a big one. You have to disclose if you're within a certain distance of a landfill. Could you imagine if you then bought a property and they put a landfill there? So that's not what we want. John?
Marijuana grows.
John says marijuana growers.
Are you for?
Are you for or against, John?
Do we need them in the community?
Is that in addition to the plead the fifth?
Okay, all right. John's not going to answer us, but that's okay. Okay, it's all right.
Could you repeat the question?
What, Spencer would like to repeat the question. So, what would constitute why someone would put or would not put a saloon next to a school? What outside the scope of HOAs would you not do that in? What do you need to have permission to do? I did not plan that. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this applies perfectly, but a lot of states are having ADU laws where HOAs cannot deny people putting a casita or a little place in the backyard. Would that apply to what you're asking?
Yes, yes. So Jan said you could put a casita in the back. Anyone want to tell us what that is? But we don't have those in North Carolina.
Oh, is it?
Small house.
Small house, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Tiny home. We're just building them everywhere.
It's an ancillary dwelling unit.
So, we have our HOA, we have our rules. Where do our rules come from the HOA? Where do they get permission from? To know where they can put subdivisions, to know where they can put communities, and what goes next to them. Pre-licensing, what are your land use controls? John?
Planning department, the government.
Zoning. So, would we say that that's public? Public. If we have public, what's the opposite? Private. So which one does HOAs fall under? Private. So that's our two.
They do restrictions, not regulations.
Exactly. Mark said they give restrictions, not regulations. So local and state government, there's our word, restrictions. Thank you, Mark. He did not see my slides before me. I just want you to know. Dictate how the property can be used. Why do we want someone to tell us how we can use the property? Conformity. Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Sam. That's the same thing with putting the school next to the saloon. Conformity. We shouldn't have those. Some people are grandfathered in, and there's nothing we can do about those. But the planning department makes it their job is to protect the public and to make sure everything looks the same and is cohesive all the way around. And then the opposite of that is private. It's limited in scope, specific to an area, and is enforced by restrictions and covenants. And that is where we started this morning. We started this morning with HOAs and learning about HOAs. What is an HOA? How do we get their rules? Where does it come from? So now we're building on. Where do we go from here? Now we know. We get their public, private. HOAs get theirs from, say with me?
The owners.
Well, I was going to say private, but the owners will work too, John. They get theirs from the owners, the private.
Is there a time limit? Like, could they put deed restrictions? Is there a time limit?
Mark wants to know if there is a time limit. Thank you, Mark. It depends. That's my answer for that. It depends. It depends on how the developer wrote it. It depends on how old they are, if they renewed the restrictions and brought them back. It depends if we were in this section of the subdivision, and now they've started a new section 7 years later. That's going to start there. Theirs may not be the same. So there's amendments to the restrictions, and you want to make sure that you are following the amendments as you go along. But it depends on whether there is or not, and it depends on when it was written. Thank you, Mark. Anybody else have a differing opinion or anything about that that's wholly enticing? No? So, the HOA comes back and they say, we want to enforce private land use. That's what we are. We got our share, right? Somebody's coming in, this is what we're using it for. This is where it's dictated to what it is. HOAs act as community sheriffs. That's what they do, right? They go around the town telling you, Corinne, please put your trash cans back in. Don't have your truck outside. It's late, make sure your porch light is on. That's their sheriff. We talk about this one as well. They protect your property values. That's what they're there for. If the rules were not in place, and the rules were not there, regardless of how active an HOA is or whoever's in the property management company is that's dictating those, that's what it's there for. It is there to protect your property value and to make sure that the money you've spent does not depreciate based on other properties around you. And, I mean, when you read the word harmony and you look at the word neighborhood, does that not just scream HOA to you? Harmony? No, not so much. No harmony with your HOAs? That's fine. That's okay. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but they're there for a reason, and they control for a reason. Okay, let's play a game. Everybody ready for a game? Okay. Yeah. Perfect. All right, we're going to play real or fake HOA rules. Some of these are, disclosure, some of these are real. Some of these I actually have seen selling real estate for the last 20 years, and some of these I thought were funny, and I just made them up as I went. But when you look at them, we're going to say fake, but. So it could be fake, but how could it be true? What's different? What can we change that would make it true? You can't hang your laundry outside to dry. Real or fake? Real. 100%. Oh, that one was just a real, but 100% real. There are certain HOAs, you can't even have a laundry line out. When's the last time you've seen somebody with a laundry line outside of Spencer?
We wouldn't want it in our backyard. We told our friends that we invested in a new solar and wind-powered dryer.
That is, Spencer, you know what, Spencer? You get candy. Because that's a good one. Spencer is, look, he's running back at me.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Trying to display.
Spencer said he's putting his up and he's making it part of it's EPA. I mean, you might be able to get a tax deduction off of that as well. You might. Yes, John.
So I have a friend named John that lives in Colorado, and yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's funny because out there they're so eco-friendly, I guess, out there that they actually said that they can't tell me no to put up a clothesline from like my store place. So I actually still, yeah, it was weird. My friend has the right. They can just go hang their whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
Yeah, and drive out
Is
there
that right next to the pod field, or?
I think so. Yeah. The fit.
John says his friend John.
Here's the line from. They hang. Yeah, they hang there. They dry their pot on the. line. Yeah.
John says
good wind and solar.
Colorado, he has a friend that in Colorado they can't tell you not to put it out. So that's interesting. So let's think about it from another direction. Let's think about if we have investment property at the beach one of the rules that I have seen at the beach, and others may have seen it as well, that when you rent something from them, it says, do not dry your towels on the rail. Why? Why are they telling me, and something I paid a lot of money for the week, that I cannot use? Cindy?
Wood rot.
Cindy says wood rot. Thank you, Cindy. Jan?
When it's windy, it can end up in my yard.
Jan doesn't want it in her yard, and she said when it's windy, it might end up over there. Thank you, Jan. So,
We may have to call old Kizzy's security guard.
yeah, exactly. Kizzy's security guard's going to have to help us with this.
Aesthetics?
Aesthetics, that's what I was looking. Thank you, Candace. Aesthetics, that's exactly right. It's not aesthetically pleasing to see all sorts of different towels when I'm on the beach and I'm looking up at what I've paid for the month, for the week, or that'd be nice if it was a month, but for the week. And all I see is towels? I don't want to see that. And other people that are looking at that to possibly rent, they don't want to see that either. So that's why we started talking about it as just a laundry line. There are houses that don't have laundry lines, but it would become real for them that they could not do it because of where it is. Your long bones can't exceed 3 feet in height. Real or fake?
Real.
100% real. The craziness of it, your long gnomes cannot be more than 3 feet. Remember when I told you that I had sort of a semi-obsession with nutcrackers? I have a 6-foot nutcracker that's a blow up for Christmas. It is ostentatious and it is awful, but I love it. My HOA does not prevent that, thank goodness. But I don't live in an HOA where they're measuring gnomes either. But that is real. There are some of them that is what they do. They go around measuring whatever's in the yard. More than 2 flower pots, ticket. Yes, sir. John?
You say that the nutcracker doesn't identify as a gnome?
Right. Good. Or the gnome could identify as a nutcracker if the nutcracker was allowed, but the gnome wasn't. Thank you, John. We're going through all of these restrictions one at a time. We're just breaking them down. I love it. Every house must display a flag with the HOA logo. Fake. For all of you pre-licensers out there who teach pre-licensing, what's the word in there that automatically made that fake? Must. Thank you. Must. They might, while that is fake, they might tell you you can't have a flag out front. Or they might tell you you can hang your Christmas flag up in November. But by the first week in January, it needs to be down. So you don't have to have your HOA flag, but you can't have those.
The U.S. flag is always allowed.
Carolyn says the U.S. flag is always allowed.
But other things are not.
And
At least
other
in our
things are
HOA, based on the group that's the attorney for HOAs in the state of North Carolina, it says the U.S. flag must be allowed.
Thank you. I did not know that, Carolyn, so thank you for saying that. The American flag must be allowed. They can't tell you not to fly that one. Has anyone had a child graduate recently? And the school comes along and they put those signs in your yard with a picture of your child or their name and said, "Congratulations, you school senior graduate." Everybody's seen those? Some HOAs wouldn't allow those, and they would go right behind and pull those up and tell you that you had to have them out, or they could only be up for a certain number of days. So I have a friend, it's not me this time, that is in an HOA that happened with, and they said 7 days. Pull the sign up in 7 days. So every 7 days, she would go up, take it out, and move it to another part of the yard. And that was her way around the 7 days. You said 7 days it could be in the front yard. But now I have moved it to the side yard. And she did that all summer long, just to aggravate them. I don't have that, I'm petty. But I'm not that petty, because I don't have that much time to think about it, to make all of that work. But some HOAs are that. You can't use pink flamingos as yard decor.
It's real.
That's true. Spencer said that's just wrong. Either way, whether it's fake or real, it's just wrong. That's true. They can dictate you what you can have 10 in your yard, John? Oh, I thought John was giving me the 10, like he's got 10 in his yard. It's like, wow, John, that's pretty good. So, can't have pink flamingos in your yard. I mean, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that one. That one doesn't bother me much, but it is real. All the front doors must be painted the same.
Yeah.
Colored beige. That is real. It may not be beige. It could be teal. It could be whatever color. Taupe. You know what, John? Spencer says taupe. Let's ride the line there, but you might get past with it. But these are things that you need to know before you move in. Could you imagine? You moved in and you were thinking, oh, this taupe door is nice. But I'm more of a red door sort of person. And I want my door red. And then you paint it red. And then you have to go back and repaint it. Because now you're in line with the rest of the covenants, but you didn't know it. Trash cans must be stored at a view from the street. I think we talked about this one. 100% real. Yeah. Trash comes on Tuesday. You have till Tuesday night to get those things back. Your grass must be no taller than 4 inches. That's real. That is scary, but it's real. Because whose job is it to go measure the lawn?
Somebody's a little salty about it.
So, because you got to fill a story in there.
If there's a story,
We don't have time for it. Because she's got a story, we don't have time for it, but there are people that go around and measure the yard. Now, I can completely see this happening if the yard is overgrown. That's like that, nobody wants that. That's property value. That's, nobody wants that in their neighborhood. But to know how tall the grass should be, like, that's a little crazy, but it's written in there. HOA homeowners must serve on the HOA board at least one time in 5 years. Thank God that's fake.
There's a group of people that want to stay on board forever.
Corinne, you were exactly right. Corinne said there's people on the HOA board that never want to leave.
Yeah. That's right.
Thank you, Corinne. I agree. That was my one and done. The pencil being thrown at my head by my next door neighbor. I was done with my HOA board days. That was it. Not everybody's meant to serve on an HOA. Not everybody wants to serve on an HOA. But some of them love to serve on HOAs. Dr. Sam.
Yeah, some situations where the president wants to be a president for life, and that's on top of bylaws for that election.
Yes. Dr. Sam says there are some presidents that want to be their mayors. They're going to be there till their life ends. They want to be the president, and they're going to keep stretching those bylaws as long as they can to make sure they're in there. So let's bring it full circle. Where did we start this morning? We started with the good, the bad, and the ugly. On a pretty street. Exactly, that's what that is. Perfectly lined. It's in a circle. We don't know how we get out of it, but somehow we're going to get out of that street. But it's all perfect, right? We envisioned that in our mind, and we thought, that's what perfect would feel like. That feels wonderful. And we want everyone who buys a home to feel that way, correct? As agents, that's our goal. We want everyone that goes into a house, buys a house, calls us and says, thank you, this is the best decision I ever made in my life. I am so happy here. What we don't want is that person to call us and say, Fred, I love you, but I didn't know about this. Or, I didn't understand this rule. You didn't tell me. Has anyone heard of, some of you have heard of agents who get in trouble for not disclosing the HOA. They didn't know they were going to have to pay fees, and then their properties got levied and potentially foreclosed on because their agent did not disclose the fees. That's scary. Right? It's scary that we have that much power in people's lives that we can just gloss over what we want to, pick out what's important for us, and miss that part that would be important for them, because some people don't see the good. They only see the bad in the HOA, and they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want anything to do with it. And they started their journey with you saying, Amy, I don't want to be in an HOA. So Amy's not going to show you any houses that are in an HOA, because that's not where you want to be. That's my job to you. So what connects HOAs and agents? 2 words: material facts. It is a material fact if there's an HOA, because what is the true definition? Going back to our pre-licensing days again, what is the true definition of material fact? What is it? Anybody?
Affects someone's decision to buy, sell, or lease.
Cindy, thank you. Cindy says anything that could affect the decision to buy, sell, or lease. That is exactly right. That's what a material fact is. And that's why it's so important for agents to know what they're getting themselves into when they're showing these properties. If there is a sign out front, and it clearly says when I turn onto the street, Windsor subdivision, might there be an HOA or rules in place that dictate what I can and cannot do? What? Yes, sir?
I have one other question.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to waste your time, but what are some of the restrictions either put in by an HOA or by a developer that either they can't enforce, they're not allowed to enforce that type of restriction, or it's just pure illegal they would have that kind of restriction?
So Mark says what sort of restrictions are put in that are illegal or they cannot enforce them. So thank you, Mark, for that question. That goes back to when we first started owning property, right? And they put these rules in there that said women can't own property, and it's written in there. And they say minorities cannot own property, and it's written in there. And it's there, it's still there. Nobody's bothered to remove it, but no one actually follows it. It's not enforceable. Exactly, thank you, Mark.
So the court would enforce it, in other words, if you did sue them, the court would throw it out.
In my opinion, Mark, yes, the court would 100% throw that out. There's no way that that would fly today, that the HOA or the HOA could enact those in there. Yes, sir.
I think when the developer decides to develop the property and have HOA, those bylaws have to go through the county or the city to be approved. And when you read through those bylaws and articles, they see something that's not the original level, and they'll send the articles back and revise it. So that kind of a safeguard for illegal articles in place into the HOA.
Thank you. Dr. Sam said that there are things in place where they put these bylaws into place, they take them to the city, and the city reads over them. Someone's going to look at that and go, women have to be able to own houses. They make money. They can own houses. They can do whatever they want to. Minorities need to be able to do this. All of the other fair housing should not be in there. Disabilities, all of that. It has no place for any of that. And thank you, Mark, for bringing that to our attention. So here we are, material facts. What are your duties when you're looking? What are your duties to your clients when you're looking at properties? If I have a client who's looking at beach homes as rental investments, there are some developments that will only let you rent for 3 months, 6 months, or a year. They don't allow weekly rentals. They don't allow Airbnbs. They don't allow VRBOs. If I'm looking for an investor who specifically wants to make money off of this, that's not where I need to be, because I'm not going to get the money out of it that I want it to